Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alex Namath. I'm here with Laura Lesker, the owner of Encore Adult Memory Day Centers.
Encore Memory Care Day Centers.
Memory Care Day Centers. We have 3 locations, so look us up if you need to find out if we're in your neighborhood. Today we want to talk a little bit about guilt, and maybe we can help the caregiver navigate through the whole guilt process. So it showed up many times. About every time I made a mistake, I felt bad about it. I felt guilty about it. And with a lot of probably the people that are listening to this, and Laura, your experiences as well, we weren't trained in it, so we didn't know what we were doing. Mm-hmm. So we tried to make it the best possible day that they could have, but then it turned out as the worst possible day they could have and I could have, and we felt guilty about that.
Yeah, I really felt like, especially in the beginning, there was just so much guilt. I was telling them I was a big ball of guilt the whole time, honestly. So.
Yeah, and I think the caregiver, it works both ways, but especially for the men that I've seen it, is that, sort of by design, men are supposed to take care of their spouses, supposed to take care of finances, work, and all those kinds of traditional things going forward. And now their wife has got early dementia, and it's really hard for them now to take that role on because typically they're not the caregiver. Mm-hmm. That's not always the case. There's always exceptions to everything we say here. But that's particularly hard for them because, again, they are supposed to be the person that takes care of everything that goes on within that home. And now they can't do it. So what does that do? It immediately causes them to have guilt over thinking that they can't do it. Mm-hmm. And that they have to seek other professional help for the journey that their loved one's going through.
And then women, being natural caregivers, they feel like they should be doing this all on their own without any help from anybody. And if they seek any kind of help, then they feel guilty. That's very normal. That happens to everybody. But
that's right.
It's you really have to take care of yourself. You can't let that happen.
And it'll keep popping up through the whole journey. You're going to go out. Let's say you finally have someone to watch your loved one, and you go out and play cards because that's what you used to do. And you'll be there, and halfway through cards, all of a sudden you're going to feel guilty because you're having a lot of fun with your old friends, and your loved one's not there to enjoy it, or they never were, but they're not having the joy that they had in the past. So you almost feel like, well, I can't enjoy life either because my loved one's not enjoying it any longer.
Yeah. That's kind of survivor's guilt in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It is. So, and then once you do make the decision to get some help, say you have somebody coming over helping you, or you take them to a day program or whatever, a lot of people feel immense guilt just because they felt like they should have been able to do this and now they can't do it all by themselves. And it's just, it's hard to let go and let somebody else help you.
That's right. And then you're gonna come across people in similar situations because that's where your world is evolving to. And you're gonna find a caregiver that does just happy as can be. They're doing the greatest job.
And then you feel guilty about that because I'm so resentful.
And you're going, holy smokes, I can't even get them out of bed. And this one's telling you about the day they had at the park and what great times they had together. And it's going to make you feel really bad because you can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, that it'll make you feel guilty too because you can't be happy in the journey. And nobody's really happy in this journey. No. Even if they look happy, they're really not happy.
They're not.
I'm telling you, it's a difficult journey, and you need help. And I can say don't feel guilty, but you really have to just experience getting help and getting that relief before you realize that the guilt was something that you put yourself through unnecessarily. And it's very unhealthy.
It sounds like guilt morphs in a lot of different ways through, like you said, like comparison, through like mistakes, through like grief in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Wow. And it shifts over time, and it shifts depending on where you're at in the caregiving journey too.
Sure. And you're also angry, right? A lot of times you're angry at your loved one. Why? What happened? Why did this happen? Why did it happen for us, right? So you go through that whole thing.
That's one of the stages.
Kinds of
of grief.
stages.
Yeah.
That's right. Is anger.
Mhm.
And you've got to get over that. And the stages of life to death are very similar because you're watching the death of your loved one right in front of you,
Slow.
which can be
Slow.
difficult.
Yeah.
So you got to address those stages as you go through. Well, certainly, you know, we're back to the Alzheimer's organization. We're back to reading as much as we can. We're back to, I love support groups for people that are going through that.
Prayer.
Prayer, yeah.
Really, prayer helps so much.
Yeah.
You know, and support from
Mhm.
other people.
It's interesting too because some people are stronger than they give themselves credit for. In the beginning, it just seems, and it is. In the beginning, it is so overwhelming. I mean, that's why we have 15 or 18 podcasts, and there's thousands of them out there today because we're trying to help those people do that. So you're not going to know everything right away.
No.
You
No.
can't do it. And I don't even advise you to do that, right? So you have to absorb it as you go through the process, try the things out, which makes you feel better that, well, I'm trying.
Mhm.
Don't feel guilty of the fact that you don't know as much as the next person, but yet set yourself up so maybe you learn from the next person that's handled maybe a similar situation.
It sounds like giving yourself a little bit of room to grow and learn and space and not holding yourself up to hitting it perfect every time.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be perfect every time.
That's right. You got to give yourself permission, right? That's the word, kind of buzzword these days, to fail.
Like with us, it's easy for us to be perfect every time, really, with our lovely guests, because we don't have the emotional tie to them that our family member would have. When they walked in the door for the first time, that's who we know. We don't know anything that they lost in the past. So sometimes they'll compare it, like, I don't know why it's so easy for you to smile and to get my loved one happy when it's so hard for me. Well, I don't have that, I don't want to say baggage, but I don't have the same emotional attachment to your loved one that you do. I know who he is today. Wait till you hear what happened with my loved one. That was different. I had all the guilt. I had all the same things. I could look at someone else handling my loved one better than I did and not even believe it. But it's just, that's the way it is.
So part of the guilt is also all of that emotion that you're bringing to the table as well as you're on this journey, and giving yourself permission to be human in the journey.
Right. Yes.
And to know that it's okay, but you also need people to come alongside you.
Yeah. You need help.
Yeah, and know that it is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not over tomorrow.
Yeah. It's a long journey for some.
A lot of people with the disease are going to last 10, 15, 20 years. We don't know what
that's
the
true.
end state is on this. So you've got to buckle up for it. And again, educate yourself as much as you can.
It's a slow process too. So yeah, I would say get support sooner rather than later, because you don't want to wait until you're just so beat up before you ever ask for help. You have to think about yourself too. You have to think about your health, your mental well-being, as well as your loved ones. And the healthier you are mentally and physically, the better caregiver you are too. So you need help. This is not a one-person caregiving job. It's multiple.
Well, I think a lot of times you feel guilty because of something you did, maybe to somebody else.
Yeah.
I feel guilty. I wish I wouldn't have done that. You did it, right? And I think in a lot of cases you should feel guilty about what you did. Right? That's why we have a criminal system, right? These guys are guilty, right, for the actions or whatever the crimes that they committed. So the sooner you can let that go, because there's nothing you did that caused your loved one to have this disease.
That's right.
In all the years you've been married, there's nothing you could have done.
And it's nothing they did to cause it either. It's
That's right.
You know, it's in most cases.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think it comes back to, we've talked about a lot of times, you do have to allow time for yourself, whether that's you reading a book and the sister-in-law's watching or whatever the situation is, you have to give yourself that time to be able to pull back. Because as we've talked about many times, you can't do it 24/7.
Right.
I don't care how educated you are, how many
Right.
books you're going to read about this.
It's hard.
We're all human. We all have our own emotions as well. So for you to be able to give yourself that time alone or with friends, whatever it takes to put you in an enjoyable state, whatever it was before that you enjoyed, you need to try to get some of that back into your life again.
Yeah.
And you might have to take a cruise or something, figure out how you're going to be able to pull that off. Find out where they're at in the stages of these. As we know the stages of the disease, and there's plenty written, you're going to know what's coming next. Everybody's unique, but everybody goes through the stages. Maybe this is the time to do those kinds of things to pamper yourself a little bit, because there's a time coming that maybe you won't be able to do that. Yeah, I mean, the question you have to ask yourself is, why do I feel guilty, right?
Yeah.
What's the answer to that thing? Write it down. And they might find out it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And that may be where bringing in, talking to a therapist or a pastor or
Sure.
somebody like that may be important in order to get some relief that way as well.
Mm-hmm. So we appreciate you watching our video podcast today. If you've got any comments, please include them down below, and we'll see you next time.